It's so fucking dumb. Yeah, we're gonna cut that off. Welcome to Sports Trebuchet. I'm Marty.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
And we're here for issue number 5. Welcome back.
Welcome to the Blake Bortles episode.
The episode it's so underwhelming. This one's not gonna. This is not the one I need to start using to publish and put on Reddit and try to get people to fucking listen. I guess.
The Lewis Dunk
Put me
episode.
outside
The Lewis Dunk episode.
Put me outside the door after 3 minutes.
Yeah, just
Bench me.
We'll just keep running. We are going to talk about 4 things in particular on this episode, just to give you a preview. We're going to go over the NFL. We haven't really talked about it too much other than comparing stuff to Blake Bortles, which has been just a waste of time since we're not even going to make the playoffs. And then we'll talk about our top 5 WWE matches of the year, something I'm really excited about. And then we're going to talk a little bit about England or USA playing last Friday, which would have been on 11/16, Thursday, 11/15.
Yeah.
I forget, you work from home so often, I didn't know when it was. And then we're going to celebrate the 14th anniversary of the Malice at the Palace, because I don't know if Josh knows what it is, do you?
No, and I've made myself very clear that just like the other one, what was the other one that we did?
Ray Caruth.
Ray Caruth, that I've not looked at anything at all.
This is going to be very
very
underwhelming compared to Ray Caruth, but it's still going to be pretty...
There weren't as many moving parts.
Yeah, I mean, there was many moving...
ones, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's a good point. But probably at least a couple bad fathers. Mostly Ron Artest. All right, so...
Sorry, Meta World Peace.
I just clapped into the microphone. Meta World Peace. Not bad. I'm going to talk about the NFL a little bit, just briefly. So, I don't know if we need to do playoff predictions. Were you laughing because I still had my headphones on?
I don't know what he was laughing at.
I forgot I had my
I was
headphones
laughing
on.
at you. You just looked at me funny and I liked it.
Oh, okay.
Cool. This is going to go great on an audio podcast. So let's... we can predict the playoffs if you want to do that whole thing. I'm not sure we necessarily have to. I just kind of want to talk about, the game that neither of y'all watched last night, right? Because y'all were playing
I watched
Red
the
Dead.
first half.
First half, and you're playing Red Dead Redemption.
I was playing Red Dead.
Okay. Well, there was just as many bullets thrown in the game as you probably shot in Red Dead Redemption. But then also kind of going over just maybe who's the team to beat in particular. Who are you most or least scared of in the playoffs with how they're playing now, which is just post-week 11?
Fun side note about last night's game. You know how NFL does the highlight packages afterwards and post it on YouTube?
Yes.
Things like that. Usually about 6 minutes. Last night's was 16.
Shit.
It should have been.
It doesn't shock me though.
No, I mean it's
Bombs being dropped everywhere.
that didn't surprise me at all. Well, and I think that even like in a 60-minute game, there's still only like less than 30 minutes of actual like moving football. So that's even crazier because you're basically watching half the game. So I pulled up on the screen that we're using that you're not going to be able to see if you're listening to this.
Very visual podcast.
Yeah, it's use your imagination. And then we're going to go over the playoff picture as it looks now. Pardon me. And then who's a fucking joke and who isn't. So let's start with basically saying, cool, the Redskins aren't going to win the NFC East. Even though it's a trash division, they're going to get done, which means probably the Cowboys are going to go, which is embarrassing.
Yes.
And going to keep Jason Garrett
You were
high.
saying all the things that I was about to say about that.
I'm sorry.
No.
The other teams, as it lines out in no particular order, Panthers, Vikings, Bears, and then for the the byes would be the Saints and the Rams as it stands right now.
I don't see that top 2 changing.
No.
I mean that's if nothing else by pure math.
Yes.
There's just they'd have to have a serious slide, and the Bears are the only ones that can really catch them, I think.
Yeah. And
right?
we play them
Well, the
in 2
Panthers
weeks, and they'll
probably
probably beat us anyway.
The Panthers could, if the Saints go on a slide and the Panthers are 2 of those losses. Because if the Panthers end the season, Saints, Falcons, Saints.
Yeah. Oh, they play the Saints twice
In 3 weeks.
that'll be fun seeing Panthers playoff hopes getting dashed.
And That's
why here's my next point right here. Panthers better watch out. They needed to win that game at the Lions. They're right back.
What is there? Is there a bus coming and they're going to cross the street? What are they watching out for, Kyle?
They gotta watch out for the fact that they might not make the playoffs. A team that was 6-2 2 weeks ago, and everybody was talking about how great they are.
But who do they play at 6-2?
They have the Seahawks coming up this week.
I mean, they played the Lions as one of them.
Yeah, and they just
and lost. But so did the Patriots. The Patriots lost to the Lions too.
Yeah, but they shouldn't.
Patriots also lost to the Jaguars.
That's what I mean. The league's a fucking mess this year in the best kind of way.
Yeah.
Right. Anything can happen unless you're playing the Saints and the Rams.
Right. Well, the problem also is that the whole AFC East is such garbage that the Patriots are going to make the playoffs. So it's still never going to be it's still not truly parity until the Patriots don't make the playoffs.
Right.
Because they're always in it until they're not.
I think more than likely the Panthers are going to make the playoffs, but there is a good chance, especially if the Seahawks beat them this coming weekend. All of a sudden, they're tied up. And Seahawks hold the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Let's hear.
Yeah, because they'll both be sitting at 6-5 at that point,
yeah.
And Seahawks would take them out.
So they've beaten the Cowboys, garbage team. They've beaten the Bengals, who's turned out to not be that good. They've beaten the Giants. They've beaten the Eagles.
Now,
still though,
but 3-7.
Yeah, they beat the Eagles. Beat the Bucks and beat the Ravens, and the Ravens are pretty good.
And the Bucks have decided the defense is not an option.
But they've lost to the Redskins, the Falcons, the Lions. Tell me which one of those are really good.
They're not.
And the Steelers absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah, the Steelers destroyed them, and the Steelers are the most
playoff ready out of all of those.
Are they? I feel like they're good, but they just Ben Roethlisberger
out of
so
the rest
good
of
right
that
now.
schedule.
Yes, that's the best team they play.
Yeah, by far out of that.
Yeah, but I think
I think there's a legitimate shot for the Panthers to not make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think
by far.
I think that they need to go on a nice winning streak right now. They need to probably win at least 2 of their next 3 games before they hit that stretch.
I mean, that last 3, if they could quite comfortably lose all 3, and they're screwed.
So they're playing at home against Seattle. So you have the travel portion, and Seattle also being like a pass-only team almost because all the running backs keep getting hurt.
Yeah.
So they're one-dimensional. But I still take Russell Wilson over Cam head-to-head.
At Tampa Bay is interesting because it's at Tampa Bay and they can put up points. If the Panthers' offense isn't clicking.
Yeah, no, I think at Tampa Bay, at Cleveland might be neat, but I think they probably beat
cold weather
Cleveland.
game.
I think they need to be sitting at 9-4 going into those last 3. I think they need to win those 3 on the bounce.
Yeah,
to feel
and 9-7, and honestly, 9-7 might be enough when you look at the rest of the NFC, just because.
Well, just like you said,
no one else is really doing much, at all. You know, really, if you're the second, that's probably where you're getting. Damn, the NFC East is definitely only going to have one team, I think, unless they both just meddle around enough. If the Redskins have a weak schedule, maybe, but you're probably looking at Vikings, Bears. Even if Vikings fall out, Packers, and then Panthers, Saints. Seattle's a
possibility in there.
You think you'd have the Packers over the Seahawks getting in? Don't forget, Seahawks have the head-to-head on them too. They beat them yesterday.
That's a good point. The Packers also have that funky tie that fucks with it.
Which is messing up the Vikings too.
Yeah, that's what's fucking up the Steelers, because they should be 8 wins and instead they're 7 and just... on the AFC side, I think that the Texans are secretly one of the top 5 most exciting teams in the NFL.
I think that they're the safest out of the. I think that they're probably one of the safer bets to make the playoffs.
See, it's weird though too, because I feel like the Colts are super hot and cold, but then you have the Titans
I don't trust the Titans.
No, I don't trust them. The Titans are more hot and cold than the Colts. The Colts started off poorly and luck has grown into it, whereas the Titans have been consistently...
Then the Titans do not have a good offense.
Win some, lose some?
Yeah.
The Titans don't have a good offense?
No.
You don't think?
No.
See, because I feel like they're not that bad. Ooh, 178. They scored more than Jags. So they got the 4th lowest scoring offense in the league. I looked this up last night. I think the lowest was
The Bills?
Bills, and then Oakland's up there, I think. Oakland at 170.
Are we looking just at the AFC?
Arizona. Okay, so it goes, worst Bills, 2nd worst Cardinals, 3rd worst Raiders, 4th worst the Jags, and then it's the Titans. So they're the 5th worst, or the 27th best offense.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds about right. Even when they win dirty.
Ugly.
Like, ugly, that's the better word. They don't win dirty.
But they also have one of the top defenses, so you're allowed to do that. Right? Like,
who are they playing?
Like the Ravens, when they, not that they're the 2001 Ravens, but, or was it the 2000 Ravens?
2000?
2000, because 2001 was when the Rams started doing their thing, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
2000
I'm
Giants.
confused.
Kerry Collins. So
It was in that time period. We'll just go with that.
yeah. Anyways, so I think that the Texans are comfortable, like you said. You're right. The Chiefs and Chargers are comfortable.
Yes.
The interesting part is who's going to fill that spot?
Of the last...
Dolphins,
For the last piece.
Ravens, Bengals, Colts, Titans. I think Broncos are probably out of it.
Yeah, I don't think the Broncos are going anywhere.
Because I would like to think, I really hope, that like a few years ago when we had the influx of the read option through the NFL, that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson are going to do something.
I mean, I think it's going to depend on that division, that division's games, really, ain't it? Like, you've got the Colts and the Dolphins have to play, the Colts and the Titans have to play. So you're going to really
Colts and Titans just played and Colts just won.
Yeah, and they have to play again as the last game of the year.
So
like, you're going to really, like, that division is going to be really, I would say it will be just, that final spot will be decided by those divisional games.
So I hadn't looked at the Ravens'
Honestly.
schedule to finish out, but they beat the Raiders.
They've got it.
Who's this?
This is the Ravens.
Gotcha.
They beat the Raiders, but Atlanta is the toss-up. At the Chiefs, probably a loss.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, toss-up if you go on the shootout route. But the Ravens have a good defense still.
The Buccaneers are away from home. They're not going to do shit. They're going to get beaten.
At the Chargers
They're gonna get
a
beat.
loss.
Yeah, and then Cleveland, you never know.
Which, yeah.
But Cleveland also is like one of the worst defenses, so they benefit from that. If Lamar Jackson's in there the whole time. One of the cool things, kind of touching on the NFL period, I'm wearing a Patrick Mahomes shirt for those who
That's one of the
are
cool
listening.
things.
That's the cool thing. But like,
One of the cool things about the NFL is that he's wearing it.
Episode 5,
well,
we're scraping the barrel.
it's a good segue because the young quarterbacks in the NFL right now and the coaches are allowing the NFL to do what college football does best, which is spread out the offenses and just fucking sling it. And Harbaugh with Baltimore does not trust Lamar Jackson to throw it yet. He threw 19 times in his starting game for 150 yards and 1 pick.
That's one more than Bortles threw this past weekend.
He threw 18 passes.
Yes.
Gross. Quit making it about Bortles. So then he only completed...
I'm giving a benchmark for bad right now. Okay?
and he threw 1 pick. But what he did do that Bortles did not do was he ran 27 rushes for 117 yards.
Didn't do that.
And he struggled, but he never looked uncomfortable. And their first drive, though, I watched the game, a little bit of it. I know y'all probably didn't, because I think I had to use your ticket login to get into it. But
the Jags game?
The Ravens.
The Ravens. I was watching Red Zone, so I saw bits and pieces of it.
The Ravens, was it Steelers that they beat?
Yeah.
Bengals they beat.
Yeah.
In their
Steelers
first drive, they had 12 plays and went in for a touchdown, and they ran every single time.
Yeah,
and it was either a quarterback drive. It was beautiful.
It was funny as hell.
But when you realize, like, when Lamar Jackson takes off, he looks like Tyreek Hill running. He's so fast.
Yeah, he is.
And I forgot how fast he was because he focused so much on the pass in college. And what's interesting about him, and this will kind of probably end our NFL talk, but because I don't want to get too much on a tangent, he went to a high school that played like a triple option, and he got recruited by like not the passing guru, but a passing coach, pass first coach, and Bobby Petrino, who's a bad human being, but it was really weird because he got signed, and I think most people would have guessed he was probably going to move to a receiver or something because of his speed. And he won the Heisman, which is, Josh, if you don't know, kind of it's the most valuable player, basically, of the college. But he was an incredible passer, like really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And the system's designed to make those players look good, but with his athleticism, it was tough to beat. And they've since without him, and in all of his seasons, I think they maxed at 9 wins because the defense was just atrocious.
This year,
Louisville's gotten
they're trash.
Fucking destroyed by 50 points multiple times.
Syracuse hung like 50 some odd on them. At that point, they went 2-8, and they fired Petrino.
Yeah,
Fair.
Yeah.
but Lamar Jackson, I think, is a generational talent, and if they let him do what they're allowing Mahomes to do, which is to play his game, it's gonna be fucking money.
I mean, there's a lot.
And it's the Ravens, and it's the Ravens division, I think, for the foreseeable future.
I mean, they're
even
allowing
with
a lot of those players to play their game right now, and I think that's why it's getting so fun.
Yeah.
Like, to different levels, but, like, they're catering to Goff, they're catering to Mahomes,
Yeah.
they're catering to the young boys. Like, even to an extent, last year they catered to Bulls, too.
I mean, it's
like,
exactly. But I mean, like, it's even that's why, like, when you watch a Titans game, for instance, right? It's obvious that Mariota has talent, and he's a really, really good player because he'll put touch and just fucking perfection on a ball without even thinking about it. I think because Mike Vrabel's your coach. I don't know who their offensive coordinator is, do you?
I have no idea.
No clue. But if they had any kind of a guy that had creativity, they'd be somewhere. And they wouldn't be the 5th worst offense. That's like for fucking damn sure.
Probably true.
right.
Yeah. The same way that the Panthers now with North Turner have just been incredible.
They've had a really fun year. If you watch that offense, they're running a lot of
Yeah, they are.
end arounds. They're getting the ball to McCaffrey whenever they possibly can. They
Because they actually
really
have a
good.
running option outside of Cam.
Yeah.
That's why. They actually have a running back.
Who's just as versatile as Cam is as a quarterback at a running back position.
And he can catch the ball, too.
Very much like
So-
Alvin Kamara.
I wanted him to be so
Yeah,
fucking
he
bad
is.
when he
He's
came
very
up.
much like Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, he is like Kamara.
Interesting fact about Christian McCaffrey, his dad broke his leg on Monday Night Football, September 10th, 2001, and it was like the Alex Smith injury. You could see his leg like flapping
Flopping
as he was
around.
coming on the landing. And then I totally forgot about it because then 9/11 happened. I'm sorry, 9/11 was an inside job, so it was actually 9/11 was planned. I didn't realize that the plans
It was actually
were going to be
divergent.
executed. Yeah,
It was a diversion to get away from
Yeah.
the McCaffrey injury.
yeah, just like a tackle can't break legs, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. All right, moving on from the NFL. Josh, do you want to lead on the
Yeah.
top 5 WWE matches of the year?
Yeah, so we're going to go for top 5 WWE matches of the year. I thought what I'd do to start with, because it was something I mentioned to Marty a couple of weeks ago about the fact that we brought back jobbers into, or like enhancement talent, so to speak, into the wrestling world. So I wanted to see if you had a favorite squash match of the year. So like we had Nia squash a couple of people this year. We had what was the other one that you had? You brought it up to me just
Braun
today.
Strowman destroying Kevin Owens on a pay-per-view.
Yes, we had Brock Lesnar squash a couple of people this year.
Ooh,
We
you know
had-
what? My favorite squash match of the year was Notre Dame destroying Syracuse, actually.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That was
Thanks
the,
for
that
that
was
one.
that was the entire bit.
That really was, we didn't want to talk about squash matches at all. On to the matches.
So we've gotten our weekly Whip Kyle's Ass segment in. Okay.
Yep. I mean, it was best to not talk about squash matches in seriousness because we could get a lawsuit with James Ellsworth.
Honestly, and we're gonna, and frankly, we're gonna talk about it when we talk England versus USA.
Yeah, a little bit.
Also true. Yes. All right. So, I don't know if you guys got it
Readily available. Yes.
ordered, or are we just throwing out our file?
No, I don't have it ordered at all
Neither do I.
because it was too tough.
I can't order mine either.
Yeah, I couldn't
So
do it.
that's good.
Splitting hairs.
So I guess we'll just go around the table, similar to the was it the Betrayals tag
Yeah.
teams, something like that. Yeah. So I guess we'll start with Kyle. You give one of your matches. If either of us have the same one, then we can just kind of scratch them off and talk about them as we go through.
Okay, this is going to be kind of a weird one.
There's going to be a few weird ones, I think.
Yeah, well, so hey, and before we even start, I did 4 WWE, 1 NXT because I tried to stick in that.
Okay.
How many did you do of the divide? Kyle, I know Kyle did 4 NXT and 1 WWE.
Yeah.
I did 2 NXT, 2 WWE, and another.
Mae Young Classic.
Or 205 Live. I'm not going to tell you until I do
Oh,
that.
I think
fuck,
I know
forgot
exactly
that
what
205
match
Live
it's gonna
match
be.
is
I'm not gonna.
bullshit.
I'm not gonna tell you what it is. It could be one of the two. But yes, it's a Mae Young Classic /
forgot to look
205
it
Live
up.
match.
Okay. So I'm going to lead with my 1 WWE
Fair.
main roster match. February 19th Raw, the Gauntlet match.
Yes, boy. I've got that on mine too.
Do you remember that 7-man Gauntlet match that lasted 2 hours? Where Seth
Oh shit, where
Rollins
Seth Rollins went. I've totally forgot about that
went
match.
back to back beating Roman Reigns and Cena. It took him, and he was out there for an hour and did it.
I remember the match
longest running
vividly,
match.
but honest to God, I started at pay-per-view matches, and then I got my list so full that I never even went back and scraped like the 205 Live or Raw or anything.
When I was sat in my car thinking about this, and I thought, what was my favorite match of the year? That was the first one that came to my head.
that match was
too.
incredible.
Because I was popping off
for
like the entire
WWE.
time. It was super fun.
And it was also
Yeah.
the best show WWE put on because they didn't have to have any filler. It was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
straight commercial breaks and wrestling.
And yeah, the action, I mean, it was probably not as great after that first hour because that first hour was so incredibly awesome.
Yep.
With Rollins just being an Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I think I read it just today when I was like finalizing these just today, and I was trying to find the date for it to see when it was, to make sure it was 2018.
February?
And they said
Road
that
WrestleMania, bruh.
Yeah. The second hour of that Raw was the highest watched hour of the entire year of Raw.
Really?
So that goes to show however cringy WWE are, the power of social media and it's word of mouth, because people tuned in because of people waxing lyrical about
Absolutely.
that first hour.
Yeah.
And they killed it. And
Understandable.
Seth was the boy.
Yeah.
It was so good.
And it was really the start of him going on that serious run
Yeah.
that he's been on almost all this year.
Yep.
That'll actually segue. I'll start with one for me was Dolph versus Seth for the 30-minute Iron Man match at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
The only problem I had with it was like the obvious heading to overtime bit, but I thought it was about as perfect as it could go. Now that I mention it and you talked about the Gauntlet match, it's a little bit underwhelming.
Did you not have this one?
I loved it. I loved
Straight NXT.
McIntyre being involved in it. I loved it being in overtime. I loved it being Seth losing, if only because it was almost as if the longer he goes, the better he gets, and because it was 30 minutes, he never got a chance to. Because I think Dolph played catch up, or no, Seth played catch up. Seth took the lead, and then
came
Dolph
back.
tied it right at the end, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But that was one of my top 5s. Absolutely.
Dolph can go too. I think Dolph needed that more than Seth did.
Yeah.
Because then we went into the Drew stuff, and then they really came together as that duo that was great for like a month and a
Yeah,
bit.
because that was very at the beginning of the Dolph Drew mix.
Now it's kind of petered off, which is a shame, but
Yeah.
it was fun while it lasted. Alright. Do you want to go to NXT or do you want to go... Oh, maybe I'll just deal with this like wild card now.
Do the wild card.
Let's do wild card now. So my one it was the Mae Young Classic. I just wanted to throw you a red herring of 205. It was Mako and Tony Storm. I had to think about like 3 different Mako matches
Yeah.
because she was the main reason I liked it so much. But I thought the one with Tony Storm was more visceral than the rest. With the is it Mercedes?
Yeah,
Martinez.
I actually,
can't remember. She was a close second.
Yeah, I had a list of like 4 or 5 that I just left to mention, and Miko versus Mercedes was on my list because they were so fucking good.
I picked the Tony one simply because it's meant more. It was further into the competition, and it was more. It felt stiffer, even more so, and they just rocked it. It was
plus to see her still be such a badass and lose.
Yeah,
because
it was so good.
Yeah, I know Kyle hadn't watched the Mayan Classic yet.
I haven't watched enough of it.
But Miko was fucking great.
How old is she? Do you know?
She's like 30, only 35.
She was like my breakout star of the year.
Yeah,
Truly, like, I had no idea who she was until she walked out there. And when she walked out there, I was like, "Who is this?" Like unimpressed. And like over the course of the entire thing,
she's 39. Just kidding.
I went from who is this to legit texting him and going, she needs to be pushed to the roster and beat Ronda Rousey.
Yeah,
that's how bandwagon I got. Like I was so high, I couldn't see anything.
And especially when they lead with like, oh look, it's kind of like this Japanese wrestling royalty. She was on Monday Night Nitro back in 2000 as like a 16-year-old.
First match, yes.
And then like, to see how much of a baby she looked like then.
Yeah.
She looks like such this aged veteran. And like, in what looks like it's going to be like, okay, she's there as like a... Because when you see her at first, you think she's there as a nod to her.
Yep.
Like, on...
to give somebody like an enhancement win. Just
an enhancement win, but...
you won. You beat this legend right here.
Yeah.
Look what you're going to do in the rest of this tournament.
It was kind of like you expected it to do...
It's like Wayne Rooney playing for England.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean? It's kind of a nod to...
Or like when you had a couple of them come out, like Lita and that, when they wrestled, like...
Yeah.
Out of the two, when Lita and Trish wrestled, Lita looked way more off the pace than Trish did this last time. And it felt the same way, like... It felt like it was just like a...
pretty par for the course right there.
Lita was wheels off.
It just felt like a thank you for her, look, like, we didn't get to recognize you at the time. Fuck WCW. You'll always be remembered as this side now.
Right.
All happy. And then she just... tore the house down every single match.
Colin, ready with the next one?
Okay, so this might be on somebody's list. The North American Championship ladder match.
Nope, I had that on my honorable mention because it was so fucking good.
That is on my list. Yes, it is.
That's
one of my 2 NXT.
That was Ricochet's debut. Too.
It was, yes. Also EC3's.
And within like 4 minutes, Ricochet like stole everybody's heart because he tried to kill himself twice.
It was excellent. It was a spot fest a bit, but I mean, as ladder matches will be.
No, it was awesome. And the cool part about it, I thought, which was weird because usually you have the big guys in a match like that, and it was Killian Dane and Lars.
Yeah.
Are there for show, but then the good wrestlers fill in the blanks.
And they hang out a lot on the outside.
Yeah, and I thought they did a really good job of being the glue in a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And also EC3 is still a fucking shit brick house. Like, he was big. You know what I mean? Like, it was only Adam Cole that looked small, really.
Yeah.
Who else? Yeah, because Velveteen's
he's a big dude.
And Ricochet's not small.
No, he's not. He's jacked as shit.
Which makes it even funnier that Adam Cole won, because I didn't ever think of it like you'd think of Rey Mysterio winning a match against a bunch of 6'4" people, but that's basically what Adam Cole did.
Yeah, it really is.
It's awesome.
Since y'all both had the same one, so you just eliminated one of yours, right?
Yeah, so I've got 2 left.
Okay.
1 WWE and 1 NXT.
You got 2 left?
Yeah.
Oh, you did 3?
Gauntlet, Mako.
Fuck me. Oh, y'all
NXT.
shared those.
Yeah.
It's just that I've had 2 of the same.
Look at me trying to do original ones on my list.
Mate, I
we
thought
consulted afterward. We consulted.
I thought that ladder match.
did?
No.
To me, the ladder and the gauntlet,
Figured y'all
I didn't
did.
expect to be on anyone's, especially the gauntlet match, because it was a Raw. I was like, nah, no one.
Yeah, I honestly forgot about it. Mine is one of mine is Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon from WrestleMania.
Sure.
And from a pure wrestling perspective, it was like one of the most choreographed matches in general, but they didn't miss a single fucking beat the entire match, and it was so incredibly fun. It was one of the most fun matches. Sarah and I watched it, and both of us were like laughing, oohing, all of it. It was fucking great.
It was great, and I remember we were watching it together, And the entire lead up to it, we're just like, I don't know.
Steph's gonna put herself on.
Well, that and just Rousey's never done this. She's gonna be super, super green, and it really went a long way showing that she could hang in this world.
And not even I didn't think it almost didn't even highlight her wrestling thing.
Yeah.
But it was the perfect debut for her wrestling persona and the WWE attitude.
Yeah.
And the not gonna take shit. Don't care if I fucking break your arm. And also even though it kind of looks silly still, her mean face, her move from
we
I'm here because I'm in WWE.
We haven't
and then
seen
you
it enough.
see
It
that
still
mean
was
face.
good.
Yeah, it was.
Now we see it every week. It's okay, but at the time, we've not
great.
seen it before.
Because it was just
really
her
good.
smiling, and everyone used to were shitting on her because she's just I'm
so happy to
I'm
be
wearing a
here.
big Roddy Piper jersey. He's dead, did you know?
This jacket's way too oversized.
I loved him.
Yeah, I mean, he just let me borrow his nickname, and I guess I owe it to him.
Yeah,
Gotta put blackface on now because to honor him.
It's a good shout out of him, actually, mate. I
It really
agree.
is.
I really enjoyed it too. We were both, like you said, we were there at the same time. We were both way impressed. And I think it also was Triple H. I think must have had a lot to do with it because it was the story of the match was great, and it was for the first time in quite a while in this era of wrestling, really since Punk, we actually had an authority figure get their full comeuppance.
Yeah. Right.
We haven't really had it since he left.
Yeah, because I mean, even when you had Rollins versus Trips, it was Steph getting her comeuppance, kind of.
One or the
when she went through the
He
table.
would always have someone get away with it, and it's whereas this time it was just it was just done. They both got done.
Yeah.
And it was great.
And I mean, Kurt Angle's. There's not a better person to have in your corner telling you spots, leading you through a match, because that dude's done it all.
Especially someone with such legitimate knowledge of combat sport.
Yeah.
In terms of his combat sport isn't MMA, but you know what I mean. He's been in a situation where it's real and not just.
Yeah. Josh, do you want to go because you're running out of numbers because Kyle keeps drawing them?
Well, I'm going to do my NXT because he hasn't got any more WWE, so I'm going to steal one of his because I know he's got it.
Probably.
NXT, New Orleans, Gargano Ciampa.
Yep.
I only could pick one.
Yep.
Because I wanted to just do all of the Gargano Ciampa matches, but the unsanctioned match was
awesome,
just as good as their other matches, but the story told in it was the best. I think it was just
an excellent match.
Good.
Yeah. I ran through all of them, and I ended up picking for my list actually the Takeover Chicago 2 one where he finished with the DDT on the wood in the ring when he was coming out. It was maybe the first big one, maybe the second.
Which one was the one with the knee brace? Where they started smacking each other about with the knee brace? Was that this one?
I don't think that was that one because Gargano won that one.
He did.
That was the first one.
It was
the knee brace. It was
Yeah.
okay. Then this was the second one, and Ciampa getting his win back.
Yeah.
But it's when they were still doing basically extreme shit, and then
murdering each other.
Yeah,
Right.
and then he did that.
Onto the wood.
Yeah, because Johnny Gargano got distracted by the ref.
Yep.
When he came back in the ring,
That was
Ciampa just
unsanctioned. That was
bam,
the
bam.
unsanctioned match.
That was
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in Chicago.
No, I think that one was in New Orleans, man.
I must have pulled from the wrong tab. It's not important. So I had the same match as y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had his fucking thing handcuffed, right? He was handcuffed when he hit him with it,
Yeah.
and Ciampa won. The unsanctioned match, Gargano won, because unsanctioned was so Johnny could get his job back.
Okay.
This was a
So that
Chicago
was the
street
first one.
fight.
That was the first one.
That was the street fight, yeah.
Okay.
The street fight was in Chicago,
History will serve me well.
where he went to
Thank
kick
you.
it, knee him in the face with the handcuffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
New Orleans,
Either way, all
New Orleans
Yeah, they
was
were
the
all so
water one.
fucking fun.
Yeah,
But yes,
you know what?
it was
And
so
honestly, if I could I might just download the series of matches and just watch them back to back to back, and just
Fair play.
be an
They
hour
were
and
so
a half
good.
of good wrestling.
They were my favorite. Well, I mean, that first one is longer than that goes
The whole thing.
45, 50 minutes on its own. Because I remember Britt asking me when it was done. I said it was done at 10, and I got done with it about 11:15. And we were just starting that match.
We were texting
That
too,
went
weren't
on
we? As we
long.
said, they're starting it early, and then it ended up just being.
They ended up going on for ages, and like not at any point did I feel fatigued.
Yeah.
I was just
Now,
like,
if you're just gonna download those and watch the entire series, you got to start with it starting, which is on mine.
Then losing to
Gargano Almas.
Yeah,
for this year.
that was on my honorable mentions.
That might have been my favorite match of the year. That was so good.
It was excellent.
And it was one. There were a couple times this year where I've actually gotten off my couch and just like got excited. And that was one of them.
It was.
I mean, the Gargano Ciampa matches also did that, but this was the first time that I was like, oh my god, because Almas hadn't really done anything. He broke out at that point for me. He really
Yeah, because he was just coming off the weird injury win over Drew McIntyre for the championship.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So then he put on that type of a match with Gargano, which I mean, that's not hard to do with Gargano.
Well, that's the thing. That's why because I noticed that I wanted to add that match somewhere in honorable mention, and then recency bias on an honorable mention, I put Alistair versus Gargano, but
Which is also
fun.
great. But also it almost devalued the Almas match because it is like no matter who he fucking wrestles, it's going to be really good, and they're good for both different reasons. Alistair and Gargano had the most phenomenal striking that I've seen in like an American
How amazing!
match.
And sidebar, how amazing was it at the end of that match when Black looked at him after the first Black Mass and said, "I absolve you of all your sins," and gave him one more Black Mass.
Yeah, it was.
Did you watch that yet?
not all of it.
Oh, it's good.
It's really good. Sorry for spoiling it.
I spoil everything for me.
So you've got one more. How many do you have?
One more.
I have two more. Let me list off one. Becky versus Charlotte in the last woman standing match at Evolution.
Well, I'm out. Thanks a lot, mate. Dickhead.
Boom.
Still haven't seen it yet because I haven't watched Evolution. I need to watch it. I'm so far behind.
It's phenomenal. And then
we all know that.
Well, let's
Becky's
talk
bae.
about it.
So
Instead of just say it,
I don't want to ruin his.
No, it's fine. I know what happens.
There was one really bad
amazing.
table spot where the table didn't break. That was like a rough watch. I think it was Becky putting Charlotte through it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and she went off the edge.
Yeah.
And like she landed it, the table just didn't sell it.
No,
And,
the table no sold it entirely.
it was
Fire that thing.
one of the hardest women's matches to watch from like, man, they've got to be in pain, with it not being like just a bloody mess or anything like that.
Sure.
It was a perfect PG era Extreme Rules kind of match.
I would say it was better than a PG era. That wouldn't have been it. Unless you need a blade in there somewhere, like that wouldn't have been out of place in a late Attitude Era at all.
No.
Especially for women, my god.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it was Becky. I think it probably is when Becky revved that fucking heel engine more than any. Like that was the beginning.
Did
I feel like
solidify her?
like where it's like she's officially fucking
top
Stone
star.
Cold Becky Lynch, right?
Yeah.
Because she was an absolute. Both of them were so badass in it.
yeah.
Although I could go without seeing another fucking moonsault from the top rope to the outside, which I think she did in this match too. Charlotte does it too much and it hurts me. She's so
She's gonna
long.
hurt herself.
She's gonna hurt
She's
herself.
so
She's so
long.
long, so when she's doing it, it just looks like you're throwing like a fucking 6 foot of rope in the air, and it's like just
Yep.
slowly rotating.
You just hope it keeps going. And
Yeah.
I think as well, like that's the first match in a long time where wrestling is wrestling regardless of gender actually stood.
Yes.
Like it's always something to do with historic like bullshit of like historic Hell in a Cell, like historic this, and like it was historic, right? Because it was like just like a no disqualification. It was like the first last woman standing match, but
Right.
like it wasn't. That's not what it was remembered for. No one will go back and go, that was a historic thing. It's just it was good.
That was
it
right.
was so good.
It'll be on both of their career match lists if they
Yeah.
put a fucking DVD out because
Okay.
it's so good.
I'll have to go back and watch
It really
I'll do
was.
that tonight.
And I don't think the worst part about it was it didn't main event Evolution, right? It wasn't Nikki and Ronda the
Nikki
main?
and Ronda were the main event.
I didn't even finish it because I didn't watch
It's all
the
downhill
Nikki.
from there.
It was,
Yeah.
and also
I mean, how can you
explained-
follow that?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was
Exactly.
It was a show
It's going to be too hard to follow.
Yeah, it was the Dolph Ziggler matches.
From my personal point
Was
of
it Here
view,
to Show the
too,
World?
It was Here to Show the World.
I've been massively apathetic at Becky for the longest time because I liked her when she first came up, like great, liked her on the NXT tour, like liked her, but like she just didn't do anything. Kind of like Punk, really. When he first came in, like I loved him, but I didn't really. And then he slowly just became nothing. And then for both of them, like his breakout was like the Money in the Bank, and then the pipe bomb for her. This was. Like, finally turning on Charlotte was the start of, like, me piquing my interest, and that match itself was, like, holy shit.
Instead of seeing her dissolve.
We know how I feel about Becky Lynch.
Yeah, well, I always loved her.
She's one of my favorites, but I'll be the first one to tell you that she was stagnant for super long.
Well, it's the same thing that's happening to Bayley now.
Yeah.
Right? And Asuka. And, like, Becky just got in, like, she fell in line with the Naomis of the world. And, like, Naomi, when she won the championship a long time ago, and it was like, cool, let's do something with this. And instead it's just like, glow.
Yeah.
I'm
and
gonna
at the
fucking
same
dance.
time, like, without
And,
being
there's not
harsh
much
to
else.
Naomi, she's not on the same level as Becky to
I don't think they can't be letting her. Because she hasn't...
Right.
Like, even Carmella tries new moves. And, like, Lana's trying like hell. And Naomi's got like 5, and she just keeps digging into that same bag.
Lana's got a long way to go before she becomes
good.
anywhere near Naomi's level.
I mean, we were all sitting there when Becky turned on Charlotte. I popped hard for that. That was awesome. I thought it was great. They finally did something with her, and then...
And the crowd agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, they agreed so much that it was not the reaction that WWE wanted.
Yeah, for a week and a half, WWE tried to like do a weird face heel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was bizarre. They've kind of bent to what you said. Like, I mean, she's
Stone
like
Cold
the
Becky
Stone
Lynch.
Cold Becky Lynch. Like, she's just like to say she's Stone Cold is like she's just so unique in her own self. But like that's the best comparison you've got, I think, at this point.
But like the storyline and every action she takes, you could see
Super
Stone
simple.
Cold
Yeah,
doing it, you know
yeah.
what I mean?
If you put
Short
another
of her
person in
putting a
there,
beer truck, she just throws Killian's red at people. Like,
it was great. She was great right now, and even now she's
a
like
Guinness fan. Just fucking spread.
Oh, God, it's so thick.
it is as well. It's gross.
This feels like a fucking coffee shop. All just roasted.
Everybody's trying to get up, but it's like their arms are sticking to the Oh, God.
What was the last one on your list, Kyle? Since we eliminated Josh.
Recency bias as well, because this is another time where I was actually getting up off of my couch. This past weekend, it was Ciampa Velveteen Dream. I loved that match.
It was really
The dichotomy between Ciampa being the grizzled veteran and the champion, and Velveteen Dream being this upstart that's trying so damn hard to get that title and is trying to use mind games and his ring attire was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No, not watched it yet.
Okay.
I watched. What have I watched today?
So the show was in
Hardly any
LA,
of it.
right? And he basically was like,
Oh, I watched War Games.
Hollywood.
That's all I've seen.
That's what it was. Oh, you only saw the end.
The
Okay,
War Games
gotcha.
match.
Which is
Yeah.
also super fun.
Yeah,
That's the only one I've watched.
He
Velveteen
comes out in Hollywood Velveteen Dream, so he's wearing like the fucking the waist trainer, the fucking boas.
I'll find a picture.
The Hogan.
He's got a black shirt on that instead of NWO it says OVR or no, OVA for
OVA.
OVA for Dream OVA. He's got the.
What a guy.
Do you see it right now?
Right now.
It's so fucking good.
It's beautiful.
And
Where were they this week?
LA. And you can just put NXT War Games Velveteen Dream probably if you're Googling it.
that's not it. But yeah, I mean, it was a super fun match. Do you want me to spoil the end for you?
I already know the
Okay.
results.
So when Velveteen
I got it
Dream
now.
got went off the top rope and hit his finisher, went for the pin. Like I legit got up and was like counting along with it.
Because you thought it was done.
Because I thought, and I'm a huge Velveteen Dream mark.
We all are. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard not to be. It's
Yeah.
so good. There's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the exact picture I just saw.
Yeah, it's fucking
I
beautiful.
want to see the tights.
The tights are great.
Because the tights, instead of having just a white lightning down the side, it's purple lightning, and it's got his eyes on the back of the
What a guy.
pants. It's great. Yeah, that was
Good for him.
my last match because I was legit just excited watching that match. It was so fun.
My last match, I'll quickly just do my honorable mentions. The only one I had left was Ronda and Charlotte from Survivor Series this weekend. It was great. And then Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley from the Mae Young Classic. I thought was phenomenal. If nothing else, because it wasn't the original plan, and they made fucking chicken salad out of chicken shit. And
Created a star with Rhea Ripley, honestly.
I mean, I almost feel like she already was. In some aspects, but I agree. I think that pushed her over what a loss to what's her face would have been, old broken leg McGee.
I think you got it. I think that War Games match was ace too. I would love them to bring War Games into the WWE. How fun would that be with the New Day and the Usos and just go?
I don't think it would be right though. I don't think that they could do what they did this past weekend with it.
You don't think?
No.
It doesn't have to be New Day. You don't think they could set 2 teams up? Three teams up?
I don't know who they would do it with because you had the Ultimate.
War Games was one of my least favorite matches of the weekend.
Really?
So only because they're doing similar spots they did before last year, which I get, but also I just fucking hate watching cage matches, especially when it's
because
2
of
cages.
the views and
the
stuff.
views suck.
That's fine.
Yeah, they do.
I thought that the story though that they told Pete Dunne was fucking great.
The same way that if the Royal Rumble has 20 people in the ring at the same time and they show someone from the floor side getting dumped over, I fucking hate it because I want to see what else is going on, so I can focus on what I want to focus on.
Problem is so often in a Royal Rumble with 20 people in the ring, nothing else is going on because they're all just pretending to slap each other.
Trading forearms with the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
So it's so dumb.
My actual last match, and it's not in any particular order, so I wish but y'all just didn't mention it, was Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam when Joe baited AJ into the disqualification.
That was my last
mostly because of his banter with AJ's wife and saying daddy's coming home and shit. It was just great.
It was great. It was great heel work.
And so creepy. But it was cringy. So great.
Well, just not cringy as in but
and something that if I know AJ Styles at all, probably actually did kind of bother him a little bit because he did early in his career cut a promo on a guy who was cutting the Austin 316 promo, and he's so pro God that he ripped the guy's mic out of it and just don't you ever take my Lord's name in vain, and and not doing a bit. It was just fucking crazy. He's a very conservative man, and he's more power to him. But the family thing, I
feel like AJ Styles is always at the verge of breaking for some reason.
Yeah,
isn't he a big conspiracy theorist? Doesn't he think about flat Earths and hollow moons?
That's Bo Dallas, isn't it?
No, I think AJ Styles has some.
I like the idea of him just thinking about it, though. That makes me really not really voicing it, just I'm thinking about it.
He's got the Phenomenal Conspiracy YouTube channel. He just goes over.
I had one more honorable mention.
Yeah.
Depending on if you've got any more.
I don't. But
so mine was AJ. The other one was AJ, and then also I was going for all the pay-per-views, right? And I was thinking about how crap one of them was, in particular Backlash, quite possibly the worst pay-per-view of the year, and the only shining light on that entire card was Seth Rollins versus The Miz.
Yeah,
for the
that was the second match, though, right?
Yeah, it was the only good thing on that entire card, and I think the only reason I wanted to mention it was because they were the only thing that made that.
That was a pay-per-view that I turned off halfway through, and I was like, I don't have any intention of going back and watching the rest of it.
I wouldn't.
It's not worth it.
That match is the only match worth watching, and it was a fun match.
Yeah, did that have Bobby Lashley against Roman as one of the matches too?
Yeah, I think so.
The whole pay-per-view was so bad.
It was bad. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add because that was just shocking.
So we're gonna end the show with the Mouse at the Palace, which isn't gonna take a super long amount.
Quick hit about the U.S. men's team.
You didn't even let me fucking talk. But first. Kyle, we're going to talk about England versus USA.
This will take 2
and by
minutes.
we, I mean you and Josh, because I didn't watch the game at all.
This will take 2 minutes.
And go.
No, Roman Reigns defeated Samoa Joe in that match. In that fight thing, pay-per-view.
The fight thing.
I couldn't get my words out at all. Look how bad this pay-per-view is. I'm sorry, we'll go to
No, John, it's still going to take now it's going to take a minute and a half, and we're still going to get the same out of it.
Styles Nakamura ended in a draw that night. Carmella, however much I love her, beat Charlotte Flair that night.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Reigns beat Samoa Joe in some bullshit match because they had a last minute what happened in that match? Wasn't it supposed to be? I can't remember, but it was like a put together last minute match. Reigns and Joe.
Remember, because it was after the Superstar shakeup.
The shakeup.
Joe had already moved to the other show to SmackDown, and he's like, "I'm going to bring the Universal Championship back to SmackDown." That's not a bad Samoa Joe impression.
Ruby Riott beat Bayley due to interference from the Riot Squad. Jax beat Bliss in a squash. Hardy beat Orton in a match I can't remember. And Daniel Bryan
pretty subpar.
Daniel Bryan beat Big Cass by submission.
That was Cass's last match.
Big Cass is
So like even the matches that on paper sound good, like ended in a draw. Or like, do you know what I mean? Or like it was a bad pay-per-view. Alright,
so we're looking at the score right now. It's 3-0 England over US. US had a couple chances early. Like, Pulisic got open, and actually right afterwards, Lingard scored his goal, like, on the counterattack. And then Alexander-Arnold scored right after that.
Yeah.
US couldn't get their footing. They were consistently getting backed up to their goal. They anytime that they won the ball and tried to get down the pitch, it was they'd get like halfway, they'd get to the midfield and completely lose it. The quality of athlete or quality of player on England was just that much higher than the U.S.
Well, I think that's an interesting point because the U.S. team is extremely young, right?
So is the English team.
But that's why I'm asking because I guess in 4 years when they play at the World Cup, how much of the team roughly will be the same?
All of it.
All of it? Minus Rooney?
For
As a
us,
sub?
for us, not much of it will be the same.
Because
They didn't play a lot of their.
We played our youth reserves effectively. I mean, we're still a super young squad, but
Harry
we played
Kane
that
wasn't
back.
out there.
Well, so I
And they're all young as it is.
because one of the
like-
things I saw was that it was the youngest starting 11 that England had fielded since 1980 against Australia. And there's only 94 caps between the starting 11.
I believe it because I mean,
God, the starting caps in 1980 against Australia. Quick side note: 46.
Dunk got his first cap, Wilson got his first cap, Sancho got his first real full starting debut. Like Chilwell, I don't know if he got. I think that was his first debut match as well. So like, your majority of your caps are probably going to come from Dele Alli, Pickford,
Lingard.
and Lingard. Really, because
crazy.
Alexander-Arnold played a little bit this past year.
Yeah, Keane has made a couple of appearances. Delph has made a couple of appearances. Winks has made a few. But other
So you're
than that-
missing some of the big hitters for England though, and you're still able to hand.
I mean, yeah, we'd be having Kyle Walker on the pitch. We'd have Raheem Sterling on the pitch. Like all of these are young lads anyway. Like Sterling's young. Rashford wasn't playing. He's young as hell. Stones would be playing. He's just as young as
Maguire.
Keane and
So hypothetically, all those guys are playing. How bad do they beat that American squad?
They do some damage. It's another thing where the U.S. is still, they're also throwing a lot of young players out there trying to see what happens.
Who's the men's coach for the U.S. now?
It's an interim coach right now. That's the other thing, is that they haven't hired anybody since they got rid of
Jesus.
Bruce Arena. So we've been going with Saracen, I think his name is. And, I mean, he's kind of been good at holding the team together as it is, and he was really instrumental in pushing the young talent, bringing up Timothy Weah, bringing in Weston McKennie, having them play with Christian Pulisic, and...
But the guy, the German dude, what's his face that we had before?
Klinsmann?
Klinsmann.
Yeah.
Klinsmann had a theme, right? Like that's what you mean in that, like he had a system that he wanted to implement, and there's not anyone that's got, even if it ended up being a failed system, to not have someone at the lead point to be like, we're gonna play this way, we're gonna play this way.
Yeah, they have no identity at all right now.
And you can see that. You can see that out there because they're also making the point of you're trying to impress your manager, to be like, oh, I want this person up there. Are they trying to impress this guy who's not going to be there in a couple months?
And you got to think, England are on the exact opposite track because before Gareth Southgate got this job, which humble pie I was totally against at the time, worked with the England under 21s and younger from 2013.
So
So
he's seen
these
guys.
boys he's bringing into the main team have been working with him for the last 5-6 years. There's young pros. They've been working with the same guy since they were 17. So they've already got that respect.
Right.
In
Which
there.
even if you're a shit coach, you're at least sending the same message.
Yeah.
You know, that's,
I also wasn't a huge fan of the fact that the U.S. decided to start Brad Guzan in goal. I know that probably wasn't the plan going into it because Zach Steffen wasn't able to play. He got hurt and they sent him home. They actually brought up Jonathan Klinsmann, Jurgen Klinsmann's son, to be because he's also an international player.
sure he doesn't have any stake in how things are.
Sour grapes. But they started Brad Guzan, who's been there. He's been Tim Howard's backup for years. And
years and years.
Exactly, years and years. I mean, he's in his 30s. He's not what I see them going forward with. I like Zach Steffen. I like Alex Bono. I like Evan Horvath. Horvath played today against Italy. They lost in the 94th minute. The U.S. They lost 1-0.
He was on the bench this week. He should have been playing against us, really.
Yeah, Horvath.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he should have. The U.S. also, they didn't play a couple of the players that I really like on the back end. I really like this Anthony Robinson kid. I think he's actually...
He wasn't even on the bench.
No. And he played a lot before the World Cup and actually in the last international break. He's a pretty good left back. And they brought up Villafania again, who I have zero use for Villafania. And Yedlin's on the right, which is... He's Yedlin. And
Before we move on, Josh, the attacking third percentage, is that saying that 81% of their passes were in the attacking third?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I've never seen that stat before. Is that a pretty standard stat?
Yeah, they normally do it as an illustration more than they do it as a picture like that. So, like, what they'll do is they'll have a pitch and then they'll have it in
Because the
three
English
different...
need pictures to understand things.
Yeah. They'll have it in 3 different shades of green, and then they'll have a percentage of how much it was played in that
Okay, yeah.
part.
Like
So,
they do in the video games where they have it. They have
Exactly
the shaders.
that.
Gotcha.
Yep.
in closing about that, U.S. got beat by a better team, a better coach team. They need to figure out who they've got talent, but they need to figure out who's going to lead the program going forward. And they've been needing that. Like, they should have figured that out right at the time of the World Cup, just so they could start building underneath that.
Yeah, they've started. They've left this a long time. The one thing I will say is a good thing for the US is that you have more and more players playing in Europe at a young age now.
Yeah.
It's like Jadon Sancho for England is playing alongside Pulisic every day.
Yeah.
Like that's
Weston McKennie is a starter for Schalke right now.
right. That's a huge boost
Yeah.
for them in the future. It's just a case of like if you can get somebody to continue to do that work in the US national team,
Yeah.
they'll be better than they are now. They're not going to be a top 6 team in the world. They're like 20 years away from that.
Yeah.
If they do it right.
Right. That's completely altering how the youth programs. Well, it's doing what they've done with basketball and football, which is to privatize those leagues and cherry pick, where you have like the is it IMG in Florida? It's like it's a high school that's specifically based around sports, basically.
Right.
So like every one of their starting 5 basketball players go get a Division I scholarship because they were coming from Montana, Texas, Florida, North Carolina, wherever they need to come from.
The best schools in the country are all private
Yeah.
schools, and they can recruit. So
Yeah. Right.
they bring
Yeah.
in players, and they play there for a year and year or two.
To wrap this up,
Time for fun.
So the Malice of the Palace. I'm gonna do a quick summary. If you'll notice, one team's winning handedly. The Pacers are up 97-82. There's less than a minute to go.
Yep.
The game's fucking decided.
Less than a minute to go, and it's a 6-minute video. It's interesting as enough as it is.
And this is in Detroit, the team that's losing.
Yeah, this is in Detroit.
Gotcha.
Great city. So
Get it right.
This occurred in November 19th, 2004, at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Auburn Hills, Michigan. They call it the most infamous brawl in NBA history. That's what the Associated Press calls it. The media dubbed it the worst night in NBA history because it was supposed. Because this this is a very small note to make, but this time period is when like extreme conservative political radio came out, and there was a lot of underlying racism with everything they said. From like this being a bunch of thugs to Donovan McNabb, a black quarterback, not being smart enough to be a quarterback in the NFL, things like that.
Was that also the Don Imus time with the Rutgers women's basketball team?
Saying, yeah.
He said that they were a bunch of nappy heads.
So that's why, like, the worst in NBA history, they say that, because everything that they were saying and what, like, the media were saying, it was the beginning of the end for the NBA. Because instead of having, like, these classy guys like Michael Jordan, who, by the way, like drinks, smokes, gamblings,
throws his own kids under the bus in his Hall of Fame speech.
Right, just like you have all these, as they would say, you know, ghetto thugs, which is super. Just like obviously, there's those words are used for a reason by those.
Was it
people.
almost like the Benoit of NBA, where they said they were done afterwards?
The Benoit of the NBA?
Because they said the WWE was done, right?
Oh,
once
after
he did that, they said he was done.
I think so.
I'm not saying somebody killed the family. I'm just like, in terms of like impact.
Well, as we've seen with Ray Caruth, it's not out of the question. But
true.
No one died in this. What is a good note, though, is this is right before the NBA received LeBron James.
No.
So. When
LeBron's in the league at this point.
In 2004?
Mm-hmm.
First season then?
Mm-hmm. He was drafted in 2003.
Okay, so the NBA worth per team and everything was not where it is today.
They had no poster child at this point. Jordan was gone. LeBron wasn't.
We would have been right out of high school when this happened.
Let's play the video. Let me see what goes down.
All right, there is audio, so I'm gonna see if I need to turn it down a little bit when it starts.
Okay.
Only because the announcers kind of call it like a WWE match, which makes it great.
The Pacers are playing a very intelligent game today. And Wallace is fouled, and Wallace is all out.
It's like it's a scuffle. You see shit like that today, right?
Yeah. Now, Ron Artest, the guy that fouled him.
I'm gonna pause it. So Ron Artest, the guy that fouled him, like Kyle said. Go ahead.
Okay, so he's always been kind of known for being an NBA bad boy. He was a bad boy in college, too. He liked to mix it up. It's funny because he's changed his name to Meta World Peace at this point. But, yeah.
Legally.
If you can see over here, this once again, visual podcast. See, there's this guy laying down on the scores at the announcers table.
It's tough because we're watching in 480p.
There's his head. He's laying down with his hands behind his back. That's Ron Artest. So as he just fouled and got in Ben Wallace's face, he's now hid behind his players and he's laying on the.
He's basically doing the Tyler Breeze taunt.
A little bit.
Just sitting there, laid back.
Oh yeah, I see him.
Yeah, you're gonna see something happen.
So see these dudes squaring up. You see that guy with the weird looking face right there?
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't the guy, but that's all the fans, right? And there's something that's about to come from those fans that's going to hit Ron Artest. Feel free to look away from your goddamn phone, Josh.
Yep.
It's a beer that just hit him.
Someone just threw a beer at him.
And Ron Artest ran into the crowd.
Oh man, good shot.
Is this Steven Jackson?
Yes.
Who's in what color?
The Indiana Pacers are in the dark blue.
Gotcha.
And then,
cool.
So they're the away team. The white team is the one that's home. Yep. Is that most of the fighting? Or
No, because there's stuff that spills out onto the court.
See, I stopped watching and I rewatched it. Sad scene. Such a sad scene.
Somebody gets laid out on the court.
Oh, there's the fan on. Look, see the fans out here.
Right.
That's Ron Artest. God, your shoe.
He was very JR.
The announcer?
Yeah.
You wonder if the officials are going to let this game continue. Now they're throwing bottles out to the
Fans throwing bottles at this point.
You're trying to get
It's like the Hogan heel turn.
to the locker room. Maybe you could call it a hard foul at best. It's turned into just an upper sleeve. Jump person.
The random white basketball
I was
player
going to say
just
the
standing there.
one random lanky white lad hiding on it.
Austin
Yeah, just
Crozier.
picking his nose. It's fucking. This is professional wrestling. That's
Oh
nice.
yeah.
Is it Jermaine O'Neal? Baby
What's
Jermaine?
Jermaine O'Neal? Look at
Oh,
that.
shit.
The pieces of all got back into the locker room, and they're getting to a lot of debris, and they're still not all the way through.
Yeah, somebody threw stuff on Jermaine O'Neal, and now he's trying to get up in there.
Because of a breakthrough safety. The court looked over.
Just fucking insane. It's also funny with what Laura said at lunch today about an athlete should have one free shot at a fan.
Yep, valid. Should we give her a free preview of this before you...
No.
Now, I don't know if we're going to see when the guy got laid out on the court, but
It's that's pretty much it.
yeah.
Good scrap.
So the funny part about this, after the game, the NBA suspended 9 players in total.
I was going to ask you what the consequences of this
for
were.
a total of 146 games, and which led to a total of $11 million in salary being lost by those 9 players collectively. 5 players were charged with assault and sentenced to a year of probation and community service. You can probably guess which ones. Also, 5 fans were banned from attending Pistons home games for life, which is right. That's the right way to go. And now,
Those ones on the court.
yeah, and now
throwing fists probably is a good idea to know.
it altered 3 things, I guess. Security at the game, because you still have the courtside seats. Security's better, and they also limit the sale of alcohol, which they had not done in 2004. You could buy as much alcohol as you wanted.
Yeah.
And,
You see the result.
yeah, what are you going to do? It's November in Detroit, and you're going to a basketball game, except get fucking hammered.
I can't remember when they did
And
that.
get punched by an Indiana player.
You get the piss taken out of you by a team, and I get it that it was a hard foul, but it should have never turned into that.
Right. No, never.
Yeah.
I've run into people in the hallways with that much velocity and not ended up punching like 7 innocent
6
people.
members of the public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably coaches and everything else. There's Virginia Union's own.
Ben Wallace. Yeah, they ended the game obviously early.
Right.
They're not going to bring
Yeah.
anybody else out there.
Especially for the sake of 40 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, and with nothing going on. I wonder if anybody threw anything at Austin Crozier.
It was neat to see the
Yeah, why are we throwing stuff at Austin Crozier? He did nothing.
the future SMU coach Larry Brown.
Larry Brown.
Well, he's not getting much thrown at him, though.
It's like
I
it
wouldn't
looks
even
like it's
guess.
a fire escape the way these guys are walking out because they're getting just gallons of beer poured on them. I think that is going to do it. We're at the hour and 8-minute mark.
So that was the 14th anniversary yesterday.
14th anniversary.
Good
I'm
factoid.
gonna get a tattoo of the scene of him grabbing the fan and just the hand just. It's like the Banksy with like the flowers, but instead it's his fist. It should be a basketball and then the fan that he's holding instead of. Thanks guys for listening. Hope y'all have a good Thanksgiving. I really don't care if you do or not. Follow
Fake
us.
holiday.
It's a fake holiday indeed. It celebrates the slaughter of my ancestors that Kyle so
In my blood.
gently mentioned scalping last
Didn't
issue.
you mention... I don't...
Oh, so you didn't say it? Do I need to
did
play
say
back
it,
the
but
audio?
I did say it, but I didn't say it about anyone like that.
So let history show that Kyle's going to lie about what was said on a recorded podcast on the internet. Enjoy the day. Follow the podcast at Sports Trebuchet. Follow us on our own Twitters. It'll be @SportsHeal. At Joshua Jack with the 0 and the 5 as the O and the S, and follow at Third Down Fullback for Kyle, and that's 3, the number 3 RD.
He's not a bot. He's just not active.
Yeah, he just doesn't care. He watches Twitter instead of participates, which is he's probably better for it. He's the NPC of Twitter. That'll do it. Thanks, guys.